Hey y'all, hey y'all, hey y'all! I got here just in the nick of time. It was a long walk from the kitchen all the way over here to my desk. How are you guys? It is Friday. It is July 14th. I'm feeling, it's July. It is July. I feel, have you ever been out of town for so long, and even though this is like your regular space, you feel lost in it? Welcome to right this moment. Something else in the chair while I walked away for a second. Sorry. So I sat down and was like, I look like a little kid at my desk. Anyway, how are you guys? It is FRI-YAY. It is time to get ready for the weekend. We are going to have an amazing guest on the second hour. Of course, our J6 panel. Charlotte is excited to be back on the show. Are you excited?
Yeah.
Are you pumped up?
Yeah.
Yeah. So here we are. So we appreciate you guys tuning in with us today, as always. Hopefully, you guys have had a great week. You've learned some new things here on Texas Fully Loaded. You learned about the trans fat nationalists. We had them on, of course, this week. That has been a hoot. I've gotten more phone calls than a little about how hysterical that was. So if you missed it, you can catch the replay on Texas Fully Loaded's YouTube page or on Facebook and Twitter. Arthur says hello to everybody. They are super excited to have mommy back. We've had a long week. We've had a long week apart. Simon, hold on. At least Charlotte's hair looks nice, and that was a struggle. Apparently, I'm the only person that brushes her hair some days. Great news, real quick. The Sound of Freedom received 100% audience score from Rotten Tomatoes, with over 10,000 reviews. That's fantastic. It was funny because when I opened up my computer this morning, one of the very first articles was specifically talking about how all of the experts are ringing in on Sound of Freedom and how they're disappointed and blah blah blah, and just all this I really have a hard time trusting anything that comes across the media these days, because it was a moving movie. It was. It hit the feels, man. It made you feel like you need to be more alert. It made you feel like you need to be more on top of things, and more just in tune for what's actually happening literally in the world around us. It's something that we've talked about on the show relentlessly, it seems like. But, when we realize that we're the number one consumer of the sex trade, specifically of the child sex trade. If you're not angry about these numbers, and those are old numbers. Walter was like, hey, this movie was supposed to be released almost 5 years ago. So the numbers that are mentioned in the movie are about 5 years old. Is that not scary and disturbing all in the same? I mean, even those numbers were shocking, but to realize that those numbers did nothing but grow, especially after COVID happened and everyone was locked inside, it's not okay. We have got to do Oh, absolutely. I'll tell you what, as soon as that movie got over and we got in the car and we're leaving, and I was just like, I just want to hug my babies. Like I told Manny after, I told him that that I went and saw it, and I said, the little ones in the movie, they reminded me of Arthur and Charlotte and about how close that they are in their relationship and how much they love each other. And of course, the little girl was older in the movie. Hey, can you turn that muted? The little girl was the older one in the movie, but just seeing her big, beautiful brown eyes, and this beautiful little girl, I couldn't help but relate it to my little tinies, and it just, that only made it a million times worse. But yeah, it was funny to me that these people are trying to say, oh, this is not accurate, and blah 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 blah. They've been trying to say it's a QAnon movie and all this other stuff. And so that's why yesterday in the show I mentioned specifically, there was nothing in this movie that was political. Nothing. The only thing that was political at all was the DHS. And that's bureaucratic. That's bureaucrats. It's not even technically political. I mean, it is, but it, you know what I'm saying? Like it is, but it isn't. And so they didn't address any of the adrenochrome stuff, which is stuff that the Q people talk a lot about. But there's other people that talk about it because it is something that happens. We just don't want to admit to it. We don't want to address it, because if we do, then that means that we've acknowledged it. And because we haven't done something about it, now we hold ourselves accountable. And so people want to discredit or disprove, or even just pretend like it's not even happening, so that they can go to sleep at night and be like, well, see, everything was fine. Everything's great in my world. They don't want to have the real conversations until it happens to them. And I pray that it never happens to them. But when you're realizing the statistics, when you look at these facts, and when you realize it can literally happen to anybody. I talked yesterday about Craig Sawyer. He's a retired Navy SEAL. He's been in. He is now in this industry of rescuing and recovering these young women and children, and some men. Yes, and some men, because his daughter was kidnapped and was forced into this train slave. I got him at a gun show. Everyone else goes to a gun show for guns and ammo and cool guy stuff, and I go to a gun show and purchase a $10 crocheted gnome. Isn't that right? Yes. He's a fixture around here. We love him. But, so these are the real conversations that people don't want to have, because it makes them uncomfortable. It makes them realize that they're not doing anything. And I say it all the time, our silence is our compliance. Our silence is our compliance. And I think that this movie is going to wake people up to that notion that our silence is our compliance. She is not on strike, Miss Patty. She is. She is. What are you doing? Are you okay over there? Are you sleepy? I think now she's just trying to be funny. I don't know if y'all can see or not, but she keeps giving me a side look like. I think she was a very restless sleeper last night. When I got home, she woke up and she gave me a huge hug, and then she told me a couple things, and then she tossed and turned like a little fish. Hey, get down. Hollywood is on strike, so it does make sense that our favorite diva is on strike also. That's true, Miss Patty. So Hollywood is striking because the guild writers are complaining about their wages, I believe, again. I haven't really been following it too closely because I haven't really been watching anything. I mean, Sound of Freedom was the first movie I've seen in a theater in over 4 years. So what does that tell you, Arthur? And we had even talked about trying to take the kids to a movie this weekend. And then we looked and we're like, there's like 2 movies and they're maybes. But the problem is that we don't know how woke they are. And because they're trying so terribly hard. Yeah, I know. I'm sure they're drying their tears on their $100 bills. But because these movies are so incredibly woke, you don't know what is actually going to be in them. And I like to err on the side of caution. I don't want to have to be in the middle of a movie made for kids going, hey, close your eyes, or that was incredibly inappropriate. You know what I'm saying? So it makes it more difficult to want to take your family to go see a movie, even if it's rated PG or whatever. And honestly, I don't know when the last time a G movie was made. Do you? Yeah, I don't either. Arthur doesn't know. Allegedly,
in the 80s.
Probably in the 80s. Yeah, that sounds about right. It's like a lifetime ago, wasn't it?
Yes.
Do you know how long ago the 80s was?
1,000 years.
You think I'm 1,000 years old?
Yes.
Excuse me, we're going to have to take a quick intermission while Arthur gets a swirly. About 40 years ago. About 40 years ago is when the 80s were. And even then, that seems like that's not acceptable. I know, everyone is protesting you, Arthur. 1,000 years! Anyway, so there was another story that I saw this morning that kind of shocked me a little bit. I forgot my mouse, so y'all are going to have to bear with me, and I do apologize. This story kind of came out of kind of just was weird. But apparently, so I used to have friends that live. I still consider them friends. I just don't ever see them anymore. They live in Utah now. But they used to live in Tonga, which is a one of the islands out in the very deep South Pacific, and very small little island. And they used to hunt humpback whales. That was something that their family specifically had done for ever, right? Since that's all they could remember doing. And then probably about 20 years, 30 years ago, they started not hunting humpback whales anymore. I mean, humpback is at one point was on the endangered species list. I don't know if it still is. So they realized that, they could source other fish and blah, blah, but that was part of the island's heritage. So although it wasn't illegal, it wasn't something that they really did anymore. Well, apparently there was a cruise liner that was over up in like there's a little spot. What was it called? Farce? The Faroe Islands. Okay. They were over there, and it's between Scotland, Iceland, and Norway in the North Atlantic. And the cruise line came in at the same time as like one of their big hunting days for orcas. So this is terrible. I'm not trying to laugh at it. So the cruise liner sent a letter apologizing to everybody that was on the cruise, apologizing. And they were very critical of this island and their people. And they say, hey, we strongly object to this outdated practice. We're trying to convince the Torshavian people that there's other methods and not to hunt orcas. And, they're like, hey, this is sustainable. We can prove that our islands have been doing this. It said down here, I think like since the 1500s. But could you imagine? Could you imagine strolling in on your cruise liner, seeing this? Oh my God. Like, look, I get it. I'm not like crowd shaming these people on their island for what they've been doing since 1584. They've been able to track this, and there's an estimated just this year alone, they've already killed 646 of these of the orcas, 78 on the day that this boat arrived. But they on average do like 800 of these pilot whales annually. Like I love fishing. I consider myself a fisher and outdoorsy person and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know. Could you imagine paying all that money to go on a cruise, just like up on a pool of blood and just dead whales everywhere? I mean, that would still be startling. But also, I can't imagine taking a cruise and not researching where it was going. And I kind of feel like that would have been something that popped up, like, hey, our island's known for this. And this is when we harvest. So I feel like, there's a little bit of blame to both. And also, I understand that the cruise liners have been working with these islands to, try and make that not happen, I guess, when the cruise lines come in. But in the same breath, like, they knew it was going to happen. They just didn't know what day, I guess. Maybe they didn't. Maybe it was like a little so yeah, those poor old whales. Shamu does not approve of that message. The general's here with us. General, Arthur says hello. Could you imagine? First of all, I'm taking this out. Let's just say you fished your wish. You've got this outlandish cruise. You're finally taking it, and then you just come on in on this huge slaughter, like the whole, like you can't even get in the water, like it's all just covered with whale blood.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard the nightmares about cruises, so I stay away from those. I'm not going to do that. There was one that was dubbed the poop cruise, where the septic like backed up and all the people had to basically sit in their own crap for the entire voyage and stuff. It was horrible, but. Yeah, those COVID cases too. I don't know if you remember those. The whole where the entire ship caught COVID and they were like quarantined on them and stuff like that. But yeah. Yeah, I don't do cruises.
Yeah, no.
We ain't doing that kind of stuff.
Every time I think I want to take one, then I'm reminded of those things, and I'm like, ugh. But then I know so many people who have taken cruises and have had fantastic, times and ventures, and not one issue, nothing to complain about. But with my kind of like Murphy's Law luck, I would end up on a boob cruise. Thank you. Arthur agrees. It doesn't
The thing
sound
about
very
it too is if
exciting,
you don't,
does it?
you can't change your neighbor and you can't change them. You see the same people all the way through it. So like who's there, then you're stuck with them. That's the problem with cruises too. So.
Yeah, that is also that's also true. Yeah, I always see some fun adventures and even some fun stories and stuff, and funny stories from like what you're saying, like people who can't change their neighbors, or just because you get like you would even think, and I don't even know why, but you would think that if you're taking a family friendly cruise, that that's true. Miss Patty said you can just jump off. If you're taking a family friendly cruise, that you would expect everyone else to be considered family friendly, and that is not necessarily the case, especially in today's society. So I guess we're gonna have to get it out.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Even sharks will come for us and kill us to death.
I guess that could happen.
Yes.
Yes. So have you been, General? Tell us something new.
A lot of stuff's happened. Amazing, great news on the J6 front. James Beeks was acquitted of all charges for January 6th by Judge Mehta. That was amazing. We celebrated that. That was a shocker, and it kind of explains the turn of the tide with the J6 stuff. I mean, I think the judges are even sick of this stuff. I think they're tired of seeing this. They're tired of, they know that what's happening is slowly the public opinion is changing. When the court of public opinion, shifts from what the narrative, the lies that they've spewed for over 2 years, you no longer have the backing of the people. And once you do that, and you're a judge that's making bad calls, you go to, and history is not going to be writing the narrative that they tried to do. So I think that these judges are starting to realize that. It's starting to become I mean, it's got what they've done already is going to affect their credibility. I mean, that's the bottom line, especially up in DC with unfair trials, with unfair juries. So it's not, it's one of those things, it's a dying thing that the left is hanging on to, really. And
so
it's kind of evident of the direction that it's heading.
So Walter actually just called and told me about it right before I was sitting down to start, so I hadn't had a chance to really research that some. Now he said that he was a Broadway star. He was part of the cast for Jesus Christ Superstar. But do you think that was a factor in any of this? Like, what was the judge's mindset? Has this judge typically kind of been a little bit harsher, or do you know any of that?
No, Mehta has been one of the more. I mean, finding any of them guilty and giving any of them sentences was wrong. So I mean, none of them have been right whatsoever so far. But he's been a little bit more on the lenient side. It seems like he's been one of the ones that kind of realizes that what they're doing is not okay. So he's given more lax sentences. But what I truly believe is that since he had the clout of being a little bit more of a public figure, a little higher profile, that it would kind of spark off some backlash, really is what it is. And that's what we've been trying to do with the J6 movement altogether, is create enough awareness to all the people out there to stand up and make some noise about this. I mean, there's a lot of people making noise about the Sound of Freedom. I heard you talking about that earlier. They've been trying to sabotage that movie at the theaters and turn the ACs off and evacuate people and stuff like that. So it's it's, you got to make noise in order for these people to understand that they can't just walk it over and trample on people's rights. So that's the main thing that we've been trying to do. We've been trying to make all these people, all these patriots stories viral. We want all their stuff to be seen and paid attention to, because the majority of these people didn't do anything.
No, and I think that's the thing that people I think that's the thing that people are now waking up to. I think that because unless you thought about going there or followed any of it at all, people weren't really paying attention to it. But now that all those videos actually got leaked, now that people are kind of paying a little bit more attention, I think that we're starting to see like you said earlier, the public opinion is changing on it. People are becoming more aware of it. And just like with the Sound of Freedom, now that people are becoming more aware of it, they're either going to be silent and be okay with this happening, or they're going to make some noise, or they're going to start paying attention and going, wait a second, something just doesn't seem right here. And so now we're starting to see that more and more. Hopefully we're going to be seeing that more and more with this human trafficking stuff as well. But for the J6ers, I think that this is going to hopefully be a game changer, just like what we saw, how the judge was kind of typically more of a jackwagon, and even was a jackwagon kind of in the beginning of Joseph's trial, how they're just something about it just started shifting a little bit. So hopefully we're starting to see that tide, because like you said, the more people see that, and it could be that it was a high profile case and they're like, but hopefully this is going to make people realize that more J6ers are still in the wings. Later on in the show, we're going to have Daniel on, and he's going in for his he's got to do his surrender time now in about a week. So is his sentence going to end up maybe getting cut shorter or things like that? These are things that I think that some of these good defendants and good defenders will hopefully start coming back going, hey, wait a second. Hey, these charges were actually less than this person's charges, especially in cases where the judges are starting to make softer rulings or even hopefully dismissing more.
Yeah, you're going to have some of the judges that are just going to be diehard all the way to the end. And, I mean, they're still making the arrest. I mean, FBI is still going after people. I mean, they're still arresting, people almost every single day. I mean, they just don't want to stop. And it's kind of interesting. We listened to this guy Ray on there the other day. I mean, just lying through his teeth. He's sitting there and he's finding different ways to play semantics and stuff like that to be able to lie to Congress. But, we already know the answers to the questions. And the guy's, sitting up there bold-faced lying, and it's just kind of interesting. You look at the percentage of people that have faith and still believe in the FBI and the three-letter agencies out there. And it's about the same percentage that approves of Joe Biden, so, I mean, that's very telling, because it's there's a certain percent, and that's probably not accurate. It's probably less than 37%. I mean, when you think about it, I mean, it's, as long as the FBI is working for them, of course they're going to be okay with it. You look at the percentages of people that vote. I mean, that's pretty close to the equivalent of what they're saying. They're saying that the Democrats are okay with what the FBI's done. Well, yeah, no crap, because it's been benefiting them. They've been shutting people down on social media. They've been tracking down innocent Americans, arresting them for nothing. They've been attacking their political opponents. They've been, the DOJ has been going after Trump, but we're not going to do that with the Bidens. It's when it works for them, of course they're going to be okay with it.
Right. No, and that's exactly it. And I had to laugh. I didn't see the article, but just the implication of it. It was talking about how Rupert Murdoch was now not backing Ron DeSantis, and I just started laughing, and I was like, oh, I'm sure he's losing sleep at night over that. I think that people are starting to do more research, and they're starting to kind of be a little bit more key. I think they're going to key in more. That wasn't a drop, y'all. To just kind of focus in and check out things for themselves. I think they're realizing that they have been being lied to so much by so many different sources. We see right now in San Jacinto, Sheriff Capers is being gone after, and down in Zapata County, Sheriff Del Bosque is being gone after. And we're seeing a shift from, they're not going after the police any longer. Now they're starting to go after the sheriffs who are standing up and doing the right thing. So I think that we're going to start seeing more and more of people standing up going, wait a second, something same, the second verse is same as the first. They just changed one name. You know what I mean? And so when people are going to be waking up to this more and more, I think that more things are going to be overturned. Now, it's not going to it's not going to right the wrong. And even if they sue and go after money from the courts or from the judicial systems or fill in the blank, it's not going to take away the time that these people, the J6ers specifically, have lost from their families, have lost from their lives, have lost from their loved ones. The constant feeling of having to, feeling like they have to turn around and check what's going on behind their back, or not even being able to sleep, because they're afraid that they might get woken up to guns being pointed in their face from their own government. This is the highest level of corruption that the United States has ever truly seen. And there's so much silence. But, I'm finding it funny that we're seeing, and I don't know if it's because Robert Kennedy Jr. is running for office, but we're starting to see more information, or, more people asking questions or re-talking about Kennedy or Lyndon B. Johnson and things like that. And, or even, we had one friend the other day talking about Watergate, and he's like, I get it. It was a big deal at the time, but when you realize that was not even close to half of the crap that they were doing to the American citizens even then, and now it's like, meh, it's just another Tuesday. Who gives a crap? But when we see all of those things, kind of history is kind of recycling itself. I think that people are I hope, let me rephrase that. I hope, not that Obama hope, the real kind, that people are going to be more in tune and more going, wait a minute, let's hold these people accountable. Even here in Texas, Patrick and Phelan just came to that deal for our taxes. They're calling it the Texas two-step on it, because it's going to be a two-step program. But, so now they're all trying to hail Phelan as a hero. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This guy's the most corrupt person we have in Austin. And I'm just glad that he was sober long enough to be able to get the deal done.
Yeah. Drunky guy, right? Yeah. It's that's the league has completely failed. I mean, you look at it. I mean, we got we're pushing 90 people that have been arrested in Texas for J6. A couple of them that I know personally, but they weren't involved in anything nefarious. One, Lucas Denny, 52 months in prison. It's just unbelievable. Didn't do anything. Didn't even go to the Capitol. And I attempted to, contact Abbott. Got a day set up. They were going to talk to me on the phone and everything. I'm sitting there waiting, and they just ghosted me because they didn't want to hear about it. They didn't want to hear about, my arrest in San Antonio for the mask stuff. They didn't want to, they just don't want to address anybody that's going to call out something that they need to actually spend time on, So with the J6 stuff, they don't want to touch it at all. There's nobody that wants to touch it. I mean, you look around. I mean, you look at everybody. I'm waiting for, any of the governor candidates to step up to the plate and actually make a stink about what's happened to the Texans that have been taken, over J6. That's just crickets right now,
Right. No, you're absolutely correct. And I mean, just like what I always say with the human trafficking stuff, their silence is their compliance. And if they say anything, then that means that they have to acknowledge that they know something. And as long as they can appear ignorant to it, they can just act like, oh, I had no idea that was happening. You know what I mean? Like they can just completely claim innocence. In fact, in terms of, well, we just didn't know. So as long as we just, put our blinders up and we don't look around and we just stay focused on, taxes. No guns. Those are bad. Then we'll be fine. It's like,
we got to
concentrate. Second verse the same as the first.
I mean, the most noble thing you can do is protect your own, right? And I mean, protecting your own fellow Texans should be, absolutely number one. And that's what should be going on in every single state out there. So, it's the honorable thing to do. And, we don't have, people that are stepping up to the plate to do that. And, that's the representatives in Congress and stuff like that have been contacted. They're not interested. I mean, the Republicans and the GOP, they're not interested in stepping up to the plate in any kind of capacity. We see people playing games. We see people, messing around with stuff and making, baseless, I don't know, man, just kind of, acting like they're going to do something, but they don't really do anything. It's, I'm not going to blast out names, but we've seen and heard so many, just kind of goofy, tricky kind of things that have happened in so many different ways. And they really end up, being nothing. It's just it's a news clip, or it's a it's a quote that's, people use or something like that for clout or whatever it is, but it never goes anywhere. So it's, it's about, having talk and then the action behind it. But really what we have right now is just all talk.
No, and I think that that's the sad thing, and I hope, again, not the Obama kind, but the real kind, that people, when primaries come around in March, that people are really going to knuckle down this time. I hope that people are going, wait a second, this doesn't seem right. That's not that literally just happened like 6 months ago. What do you mean you're going to make sure it's right this time? You were given the opportunity and you didn't do it. So, like I've said before, especially when we're referring to the House here in Texas specifically, hey, look, I don't really give a crap what you're running on and I don't care what your voting record looks like when I can't get you to stand in the gap. Like, I need you to stand in the gap. That's what I need you to do. And you're not doing that. You said when you were running that you were going to stand in the gap, and you're not standing in the gap. You're forgetting there even is a gap. You're even though you'll know you have the vote, so you're not fighting for something. We're electing fighters. We're supposed to be electing fighters. That's what you told us you were going to be when you ran. You weren't a fighter. You sat down and you shut up, and you may or may not have voted, or you went, oh, I have to go back and change my vote. I'm so sorry. I wasn't paying attention. You know what I mean? So hopefully we can get some people are now paying attention to the fact that March is in Texas. March is when it matters. What happens in November happens in November, but March is where it matters. And if people aren't willing to step up and pay attention in March, pay attention to who's already starting to circulate in these political circles to run for different offices, who's doing the actual work already, even without holding an official title or holding the title of whatever office they're alleging. I think that that's going to really bring some truth. And I'm hoping that we're going to see more. This is really going to be our first real election cycle. I take that back. Yeah, our first real election cycle, we're seeing what the courts are doing in terms of with our J6ers and what our elected officials have not been doing. We did have the election cycle in 2022, but I think that there was still so much chaos that people still didn't really know what was going to happen, or they thought that the courts were just going to dismiss it. I think the average Joe public who may or may not have known was like, surely the judges aren't going to allow this crap to happen. And now that they're seeing that this crap is happening, I'm hoping that means that people are going to start paying attention to who they're voting for. And we get representatives, and we get state representatives and state senators and that are going to stand in that gap and say, hey, no more. That we can get rid of Ted Cruz, and we have an actual Republican that's going to run against him, that's going to stand firm in their beliefs of what happened on January 6th and not flip-flop for whichever way the wind's blowing. But now he's not even flip-flopping on J6. Now he's just point blank saying, oh, yeah, those people are all terrorists. They should go to hell. That was not a direct quote.
Yeah. I mean, you think about, just think about that. I mean, we're in a time right now where these politicians think that, we work for them. I mean, that is the reality. They really truly think of the elite club, and that we work for them, that we are supposed to vote for them because they say so, and a lot of cases, a lot of people, they fall in that cattle category where they're going to just kind of go with the cattle flow, whatever is the most popular thing that everybody's doing, they're going to move that direction. And, I don't know. There may be some differences that happen here. I'd love to see some more independent people step up to the plate and, try to do it without the GOP, altogether. That's the biggest thing. When you start to fall into those categories of party affiliation, and I lean right, I'm conservative, but I'm not a Republican, and I won't join that. I can't approve of anything that they've done. I look at what they've done. I look at what they haven't done, and I see failure. I can't support them. I'm not going to do that. That's the reality of it. And, I got to stand by that because that's my convictions. I can't put party affiliation over conviction is what I can't do. And that's what people really need to get to the realization is that there's some people out here, that are ready to go, ready to stand up and actually ready to fight, man. And they won't sell the people out once they get in. That's the biggest thing. A lot of people have good intentions, or they claim they do, and then they get in office and then they don't have good intentions. They don't do anything or they just collect a paycheck, or they just go with the flow of whatever, the cattle party wants, us to have. It's a dangerous thing to have a party that thinks that they own the people. And that's kind of what I've seen on both sides. The Democrats are a cult. I mean, look at these people. They are a freaking cult. I mean, it has become something that even really left-leaning people have like stepped away from. I mean, there's a congresswoman that's leaving the Democrat Party right now because she's like, they left me. I mean, this party has left me. I can't even understand what the hell they're doing. I don't get it. I've got to leave the Democrats. And that's kind of what, I guess that's pretty much where I came and got to with the Republican Party. I mean, if they're not going to work for us and they're not going to do, do the right thing and step up to the plate and, like you said, actually be fighters, then why the hell am I going to support them?
No, I absolutely agree with that. And, it's something that you and Walter and I have talked about multiple times. But, when I first decided to run, I said, I'm only running as a Republican because there's no third party support in the state of Texas. I can't formally call myself a libertarian because I'm not okay with the transgenderism. I'm not okay with abortions, and I'm not okay with legalizing prostitution. So I can't consider myself a libertarian. I mean, I see where their arguments are coming from, and they're not without merit. But in the same breath, I, Sandra Whitten, cannot formally support that stuff. You know what I mean? But I mean, and it's a conversation that we have often in Texas. You have to have the Republicans and the Democrats agree to another party to amend the Constitution, and they're not going to do that here. So it leaves the third party option. It has to totally be an option of the people, and the people have got to get off their asses. So we do need to take a quick commercial break. I know that you said you were going to have to be short today. Are you going to be able to be on with us still, or you got to get running?
I got workers sitting with me right now, ready to go. So they've been watching me do this for the first time. I got to get to work.
Well, tell them don't forget to share with their friends. I appreciate you coming in with us for a little bit, General. Thank you. We'll see you next week. And the rest of you guys, we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll see you guys in about 3.5 minutes. Hey, tell your friends to get their buns on here.
baby.
We are back. I'm being extorted over here from my teenager. We are back with a huge thank you to our amazing sponsors, the Montgomery County Tea Party. Don't forget, this coming Monday, be at Citizens Grill in Conroe, Texas. The meeting starts at 6:30 sharp. So get there early so you have a chance to get something yummy to eat. Maybe hug some necks, ask some questions, get involved. There's so many amazing people that are there that are doing different things for different parts of government, different parts of We the People work. So make sure that you go, you get plugged in, or at least get ready to start, thinking about it. You need a chance to think about it. You don't have to go first thing and sign right up, but you should come so you can see what you can do so that you can maybe, you got to pray about it. That's what we say in the church. You got to pray about it. Make sure you pray about it first, or I'm just going to sign you up, and then you're going to be busy. So make sure you're part of that. Of course, the Vietnam Veterans of America, their service and sacrifice went far beyond a distant shore, and they still continue to serve for their communities, their fellow veterans from Vietnam and present day. So I pray that please make sure that you get involved with them, and if you can, stop by, bring them some cookies or some watermelons or something yummy or fun. Tell them welcome home. We truly appreciate them and all the work they're continuing to do. You can see their link, all of the links for all of the, hey, can you ask them to quit yelling? All of the things that we talk about here on Texas Fully Loaded, right here on our newly redesigned Texas Fully Loaded website. I haven't even told Alex. Alex, go look at my website. I did cool things. Literally have the greatest good in the planet. If you click on that little link right there that says sponsors and friends, you can see everything. And I have a feeling we're going to be adding today's new guests on here also for their stuff. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. Don't forget to check out, I'm over here pointing at my screen again. Don't forget to check out our new merchandise page. You can either click the link directly that says TFL shop, or you can come over here and click on it in the sponsors and friends. Look, we have some coffee mugs. All of them are amazing and handcrafted by my dad. So make sure you do it. And the t-shirts, every single one, my dad's loving hands touch. And as requested, Miss Patty, we now have V-neck t-shirts as well. And so these, I really like that color. Hey, Dad, get me this one. He goes back and watches the show afterwards to make sure that I'm doing my part. Each one of them on the back has our TexasFullyLoaded.com/# We the People work. Hey, we really need you guys to support our stuff. So please, please, please consider getting a t-shirt or a coffee mug so you can be part of the show. And if you can, go to that #We the People work button. Maybe you don't need another coffee mug or a t-shirt, whatever. I can't imagine why. But you do want to support Texas Fully Loaded. You can still do that on our website. Right there on the front page, you can click on the #We the People work button and support us that way. We would really, really, really appreciate it. Also, don't forget about MammothNation.com. It's another way that you can support our show. Go to MammothNation.com/# We the People work. Sign up. You get a discount on signing up through that #We the People work link, which you can find on our newly redesigned website. And then you can also get exclusive discounts on veteran and American-made products. So look, all I'm doing is helping you out. I'm leading you to the water. You just got to drink it, okay? I can only do but so much, y'all. I can just do so much. So we really appreciate you guys. Please continue to support us, like, follow, share, comment. That's what helps keeping things moving. And I can tell that things are picking up a little bit more again. We get, y'all aren't going to believe this, but we might be controversial sometimes. And so we get shadow banned. And so there'll be times and it'll literally show me that there's 0 people watching as I'm watching comments over here and things like that. So it's so the numbers are screwy, but we know that you're there. So we thank you so much. And also, of course, our TECN.TV, our host partner, we appreciate you so much. Okay. Whew, all that. I'm feeling a little, make sure, give the little thumbs up. We appreciate it. Or even a little hearty heart. Anyway, we do love you guys. I'm super excited. Miss Helena is here. I know you are, Miss Patty. I love you. And Miss Suzanne, she always comes back and she watches, even if she can't watch it live. And she always tells me, she goes, even if I don't watch it first thing, I always make sure that I come back and watch what I've missed. So I never miss. She's like our number. Don't tell Simon. She might be our number 1 fan. Shh, don't tell Simon. He'll get very upset. All right, I have Miss Helena here with us. Hey, Miss Helena. She's like, wait, I'm here. Okay, yes.
I'm here. I've been listening in. You have exciting things going on with this new website. It looks amazing.
Thank you so much. You know what? I hate working on the website, but I'm so proud of it afterwards. And I think this is the best it's ever looked. Gosh darn it!
We'll have to go check it out right after the show. Well, right after I get back from visiting the guys at the DC Gulag. It is Friday, so not only is it Defense Friday, it's also Visiting Friday. So I'm very excited. It'll be my second week visiting. I get to meet two J6ers that I have not been able to have any correspondence with before. So that's going to be exciting. It's just we're here in DC, and there's Gen 6ers that are not able to visit with their families. So I get requests now to go see people. And I'm glad that I could do that for the families, to be there, to get them out of, the cell for at least 40 minutes, to have somebody to talk to. And I get to give them a hug. Last week, I got to see Shane Jenkins, who is one of the operators of the Real Jan 6, which is it's there. It's there. And I'm working closely with that organization, and they just brought Standing in the Gap Foundation on board, and we're doing some amazing things behind the scenes. And we're just excited because there's a lot of great things are happening. With all of the bad, we still have a lot of people who are truly invested in trying to help and make a difference. And I'm super excited to be a part of all of that. And one person who has been an amazing lady who has done so much for the Jan 6 community is Marie Goodwhyn with Patriot Mail Project. And I asked her to join us today so that she could talk about all the little love and miracle things that she has done through Patriot Mail Project to bring some much love and comfort, TLC, to these Gen 6ers and their families. And I'm really excited that she's joining us today. I think she may have a surprise too on her, and she may have her son Daniel with her. I'm not sure. We're going to find out, but she's here to talk about Patriot Mail Project and all the amazing things that they've been doing. And she also has a son who's a Jan 6er, Daniel, who has gone through his trial, and he's gone through the process. And Daniel's going to have to self-surrender very soon. They're from Texas, so they're from your home state. So I thought that it would be very appropriate to introduce you all, and she could come and talk about the things that she's been doing, working on, the ways she helps the families and providing these letters to the prisoners. And she was also a big one of the people that wrote the book, the American Gulag book, with Tim Rivers. And so she's going to talk about all those things. Say it's a little shiny because I didn't take the plastic off yet because I'm trying to preserve it because I travel with this copy. But hopefully she's in the back room, and you can bring her on very, very soon.
And you'll get to meet my about her little surprise with us. But I said it looks like you may even be surprised about her little surprise. So I'm super excited. I don't want to any further ado, but before I do, Helena, thank you so much for your dedication to the J6 families and for standing in the gap, especially for those who don't have family nearby the DC Gulag that you can go and visit with. I'm so excited that you were able to make that first visit and that you're able to go back again today. So without further ado, Daniel and Miss Marie Goodwhyn, thank you so much for joining us today. Hi.
Hello, how are you?
Hello.
We are great. Thank you so much for being on our show and allowing us the opportunity to share y'all's story with our family here on Texas Fully Loaded. So let's kind of start at the beginning, if you guys don't mind. Clearly you look like you're very anti-government and that you hate all things America. Har har. So why did what was your motivation really for going to January 6th, and then kind of tell us where your story started there?
So leading up to January 6th, I was doing right-wing activism under an alias SF Thought Criminal when I was living in San Francisco, and we started doing free speech rallies called Demand Free Speech. And we did it in San Francisco and DC and Miami. Some Proud Boys were there to do security, so I actually met some of those guys. And then we started doing, I started working with a group called Stop Hate with David Summerall, stophate.com. And then I started doing Stop the Steal rallies. I went to Sacramento since I was in California. And then I went to Atlanta and Phoenix. And David went to Austin. And I also went to DC in November, not in December. And then I came back in January for the January 6th Stop the Steal rally. And I had been covering Trump rallies also, and just getting video showing how many people were at these events, because, you know, the news kept saying there was nobody there. We also heard reports that Antifa might be there, and we had experience with Antifa disrupting our rallies at Demands Free Speech, including in DC. So, you know, I kind of wanted to have my eye out and see. I didn't actually see any Antifa there that day. Part of the reason, and probably because they were dressed up as Trump supporters, and most of them just didn't show up. I don't know if they were aware that the secret agents were going to be instigating, or, you know, if they were collaborating, or they just thought there was going to be too many Trump supporters there and they wouldn't be safe. But there wasn't that many overt Antifa there that day. So I also wanted, obviously, to go because Trump said, you know, there's going to be a protest and come and support election integrity. So I wanted to support election integrity. I support Trump. I support America. I support election integrity. I support free speech. And so I was mainly wanting to exercise many aspects of the First Amendment that day. Now, we also knew that Ted Cruz and Paul Gosar were planning on making objections and following a lawful process to actually maybe take 10 days to look at the election fraud and evidence. So we were expecting to see that. I went to the Trump rally, and then Trump said to go over to the Capitol. Now, Stop the Steal actually had organized a permanent event at Lot 8 on the east side of the Capitol. So I was heading that way. And by the time I got to the Capitol, there were no barriers. And there was a huge crowd, and people were meandering in and out of the building. So I went in. I was there for under a minute because a cop told me to leave. So after saying a couple things, I left, and that was under a minute. So I had that all shown on Tucker Carlson. Since then, I had my sentencing. I got a 60-day sentence at $3,000. We have a fundraiser up, Give, Send, Go, and people can help with that. If people want to help with J6 stuff, they can go to stophate.com/J6. You can find prayer, writing letters, fundraisers, and my fundraiser will be the one at the top, so that's easier to find. And yeah, so that day I put up, you know, we went to the sentencing hearing. We showed the judge some of that footage. And so that footage, since then, I have put online. I'm not going to say anything about the judge. My mom's a little worried. Yeah, we don't talk about that. But
we don't talk about Bruno.
I don't know who Bruno is. But anyways, my judge is named Reggie Walton. But the point I was making wasn't actually anything to do with the judge, but having to do with the footage, because I wanted to point out that the footage that was showed on Tucker Carlson was only the footage of me inside. And there's about 10 minutes worth of footage of me outside, both before and afterwards. So people can look at that on, you know, my Rumble or whatever, my social accounts. That's out there. So I'm not hiding anything that I did that day. Part of the thing that the prosecution was upset with me about was, you know, that I wasn't mentioning the megaphone, because I was talking on a megaphone outside the building. The door was open. I was telling people the door's open. We should go inside. I didn't have any reason to think that was some sort of a psyop at the time. Now, obviously, I can tell that we were entrapped. Oh, the sound I cannot hear. Is that on our end?
No, that was on my end. Sorry. We don't talk about Bruno as a
Sandra,
song
you're
from a...
muted.
Am I?
No, I got you.
Hello?
You're back. You were muted.
Oh, there we go. Okay. We don't talk about Bruno
Nope,
as a song from a kid's movie. So it's something we say whenever it's whoever we're not supposed to be talking about, because we might get, you know, in trouble. So that's just something we say here on TFL. But no, I think that you're spot on. And I think that that's something that a lot of people take for granted, is the fact that the J6ers were not forcefully going into the Capitol building. The doors were wide open. We've seen the video. I've yet to speak to one person that said, yeah, no, we were told not to go in, but we went anyway, because why not? You know, it's always been no. I remember watching it in live time, the cops going like this, welcoming people in and moving the barricades aside. And when I saw that, I immediately thought something's not right. Something's not right. But of course, I was 2,000 miles away in Texas watching it on FaceTime Lives, you know, with our friends that were there and things like that. But if I'd have been there, I would have been like, yeah, sure, let's go. They said we can go in. Why not? But, you know,
I just meandered.
Yeah. Well, and that was it. I mean, any video I've seen, nobody's gone running in. That's exactly it. Nobody's gone running into the building like, ha, we've done something, some feat. It was just people walking in. Every single video I've seen everybody has been very casual and very like, hey, here we are. All right, so this is what it looks like.
I've seen more footage than most people. There's maybe 5 or 10 people that don't work for the government who have seen more footage than me. And so that door that I entered in through, actually at the beginning, there was this guy in red. We call him Red on Red Glasses. I don't know if Sedition Hunters is the one who gave him that hashtag. But he actually put a 2x4 through the window next to that door. Someone went inside, one of the protesters, and opened that door. So that door wasn't opened by police. It was opened by protesters. But leading up to that, there were people that kind of rushed up that area. They rushed up these stairs. But there's a little bit of context that people should realize. So I'll go, there's like maybe 4 or 5 steps. I'll go in order. So first,
please do.
First you got Ray Epps at the very front gate. There was one more gate before that, but the very front gate, and he whispers in Sam Cell's ear, and Sam Cell has gone on an interview and mentioned what he said into his ear. Anyways, right after that, they pushed the gate down. One cop was kind of fell over, and then right after, he runs around and helps her up. So that obviously wasn't anything against police or being nefarious. There was 1 million people and 5 cops at the front of that. People just wanted to go up to the front to see Trump because he was coming to the Capitol to speak, as far as we knew. So then they go up to the front. There's another gate. Ray Epps is also one of the first people at that gate. But anyways, when people were there, people formed a big crowd and they were just standing around being peaceful. Then some snipers from above, police, they started shooting into the crowd and they shot a guy in the cheek. So his blood was all over the ground. Then there was a few scuffles. People were not happy about that, being attacked while they're peaceful. So, you know, I don't think necessarily that I can endorse that those people were fighting with police, but I can understand it. And, you know, there's an argument to be made that there was kind of a, you know, defense of a third person or self-defense situation there. Either way, the police were doing police brutality and instigating violence. So then you go towards the left a little bit, and there's a kind of a stairs. There's one on both sides, but the one on the left, the crowds were accumulating in front of it. And then an officer named Bryant Williams instigated a fight with one of the guys. And so then he fought back. And then that guy went up and they kind of pushed up the steps like halfway. Then he pushed someone off those steps over a ledge, and that guy fell to the ground and got badly injured. His name is Derek Vargo. After that, you can hear on camera someone going, "Oh, we're going inside." Then people rushed up the steps, and then they went in through that to break that window. Now, famously, people say Dominic Pizzola, who had just joined the Proud Boys, actually broke that window. Well, he kind of helped break it, but the first guy was that guy who no one knows his name, and he, you know, did it with a 2x4, and then Pizzola finished it off with that shield, which he had gotten to defend himself when the police were shooting into the crowd. So that's kind of the story of how that door got opened. Again, I don't necessarily endorse that those people did it that way, but afterwards, I was there maybe 2 or 3 hours after that, and the police were there. The door was open. They weren't closing the door. They weren't saying, "Don't come in." So if maybe 1,000 people see a couple gates come down, you know, and a window getting broken, a door getting opened, okay, maybe those people know. Maybe you could rightfully call them trespassers, but everyone else, they didn't realize, right? So the only reason that I could be rightfully called a trespasser wasn't for being on the restricted grounds. It's because after the police officer told me inside that I have to leave, and I delayed a few seconds. So I don't know if I don't know if around 30 seconds is worth around 60 days of incarceration, but that's what the government gave me. Actually, the judge gave me that. The government was asking for 90 days. But I was originally facing up to 20 years, over 20 years, because they had given me this bogus 1512 obstruction of an official proceeding charge, which is going all the way to the Supreme Court right now with other J6ers. So hopefully the Supreme Court will take that and rule in the favor of us, because that law actually has to do with basically like shredding documents like Enron had done. And nobody was doing anything like that on January 6th.
You mean like Nancy Pelosi did when she ripped up the speech?
Yeah, basically like that, or like
little things like that
with the bleach bit, maybe kind of like that. But
yeah, it's fine. It's casual. It's not what you thought it was.
Yeah,
it was her plans
Never
for later
mind.
that night. It's fine. We don't talk about it. So, Mom, you've not taken this lying down either, and in fact, you are quite an inspiration to very many people who have been a part of this movement in terms of making sure that people are aware of what's going on and kind of giving feet to the hands and feet portion of this J6 family, if you will, of what needs to happen. So I don't want to water down what you're doing. So how about you tell us what you're doing?
Hey, thank you for having us. So in 2021, I met Paula Calloway from the Patriot Mail Project. She was originally the person that was manning the Patriot Mail Project. And she was very busy at the time, and there was some health issues in her family. So I said, hey, do you want me to help you? And she said, yes. And I started to volunteer for the Patriot Mail Project at the time. And Paula kind of was away for almost a year because of family issues. And so I started to look for J6ers and to look for those who were in jail and all that. And I had asked Paula at the time, hey, can I add the other people that are not in jail to the list, because they're suffering as well. They are all under a lot of stress. And she said, yeah, sure. So we started to add also all the people that were on house arrest or on free and recognizance. And I can tell you that we have received so many thank you from J6ers and any of them. They just love receiving the mail. Some of them have received even like 1,000 letters. I mean, they receive a lot of mail. And they love it. And all of them love it, not just the ones in jail, all the others too, because you know very well that when you go out and you meet people, grocery store or your church or something, people have no clue what is going on. People do not know that people are in jail, in pretrial detention, and in jail even now, or being arrested now. Anyway, in the meantime,
click on that one that says search and filter.
Yes, the list with the filter,
Yeah, click on that.
filterable list is the one that I meant mainly. So
How do you
anyway,
get to that?
It's
Tell the people.
incredibly impressive, by the way.
So yeah, this is the list I created, and there are filters, so you
Tell
can
them how to
sort.
get to that link.
It's a J6 Patriot Mail. patriotmailproject.com/list. LIST.
Yes.
So we do have this link posted in the information on the write up for the show today, and then this Project Mail. Patriot Mail Project, I'm sorry, will also be added to our website so our users can get to it as well.
Yeah, sorry.
So-
I just want to clarify. So patriotmailproject.com/list is the one that I want you guys to look at. It's not actually one of the links on the top. You have to type it in.
Oh, I
guess.
see.
Is it a list?
Yeah.
A link on the top?
No, I don't think you have to go
No.
through to get
It
it.
said list.
/list, yeah.
/list. Anyway, so at the same time, I created J6 Patriot News on Telegram, a channel on Telegram, and I met Tim Rivers. And Tim Rivers was doing the American Gulag Chronicles channel. So we got together and we decided, with all the letters we get from people who receive letters from the prisoners in the Gulag and some other jails, we need to do something about this. And so we started to work on the American Gulag Chronicles Letters from Prison book. And I did most of the graphic editing, and I had a friend. I had worked in in publishing before, so I had a friend in India that was working. I said, "Hey, could you help with that?" And he said, "Yes." So he did the layout, the original layout for it, and then I took over and finished the layout, and I did all the pictures, and Tim wrote all the introductions to the chapters. And then we started to sell the book, and all the profits from it go to J6ers. We help them with bills, a little bit of legal because it's very expensive. We help them go to DC if they need help with that, or paying a bill. A car is broken down, we help with that. So anyway, but that's one of the things I did. The other thing I did very early is
hold on. What's the website?
yeah, the American Gulag Chronicles.org or .com either way. The other thing that I started very early as well is with Sherry Bachelor and another friend. We started a private chat for J6ers, like a haven for them to meet others and to support each other. We support each other with motions, any information that can help, and also, support like emotionally each other. So we have about 160 people in this group, and it's a wonderful group. Wonderful, lots of love, lots of compassion between each other. It's really wonderful. And like I said, I created also J6 Patriot News. So I have a website now. It's j6patriotnews.com. And we have a series right now we are doing is life after J6 trials. And we take each person from the beginning and we tell their story. And the other thing I wanted to say too, we started to ask them their birthdays so we could do a post about their birthdays. So we have that we put on the website, and we share the link on Twitter, Getter, Gab, Truth Social, and Facebook.
Yeah, so a lot of people
I have a quick question. Hold on, Marie. Do you sleep?
No, I don't think she
looks
does.
like it.
Actually, not a lot.
Like, even if she tells you she does, it's not true. I'm sure.
What I do too, I'm a mural artist. So I paint murals too with a team of people. So yes, my life is very busy.
Yeah, so my mom technically she retired like right before I got arrested, and then she basically became a full-time activist, and then she started painting again. So she's always busy, but I don't think she's the type of person who would want to be bored while being retired anyways. So, but I was going to say, when people send things to the January 6ers, like who are in jail and stuff, a lot of people like to filter by state and be like, I'll support this, try and form a relationship with this other J6er who's in my state, or they'll like to send them birthday cards. So that's one reason why they like to highlight when people's birthdays are, things like that.
And that was one of like the very first things that I saw. I think it was on the Patriot Mail page. I thought that was so cool. Y'all made sure you included their birthday card or birthdays so that you could. I mean, my mind literally was just like, holy smokes! I mean, it's like a one-stop shop. Everything that you could think of wanting to have that resource for, you even have on there so that people know what the mail guidelines are. Let me share this again really quick here. Because I mean, you're answering all of the common questions with that people may not even think about until they start deciding, hey, maybe I should do this. So I mean, y'all have and you've broken it down by each jail. It looks like so that y'all have. This is truly a work of love, and it's absolutely beautiful, and it's amazing. Now,
It's
Marie,
it's a lot of work, but I created a chat. I think last year. For people, it's called J6 locations, and that there is a team there that is volunteering also for the Patriot Mail Project, and there are some very amazing people in there. Ansley, Andrea Young, and others. They, we seek to find who the other J6ers that we don't have on the list are, and we're adding people every week, basically. And we get on the BOP, the Bureau of Prison, to try to find new people that we don't have info about.
It's the
So
BOP website where
Yeah.
you can search for inmates, but
Yeah.
they're also trying to track down when they get moved so they can update on the website and people know where to send the mail.
And this very difficult sometimes because they move them all the time. So, but it's a lot of work. But the team is really amazing. Without them, I don't know how we would do it because it's bigger and bigger and bigger every day. So I just even looked yesterday on the DOJ website to find who had trials, and I added like 20 people to my spreadsheet to do posts for them because I didn't even know about those. So
Yeah,
yeah,
it's hard to track even the trials.
Yeah, even the trials is hard to track.
So how many trials by now do you think there have been?
It's probably 65 or between 60 and 80, I'd say.
And there's probably been how many plea deals by now? Maybe 400, 500?
Yeah.
There's 1,000 J6ers who have been arrested so far, and they're going to arrest another 2,000 more.
I can honestly say I'd be lost. I would have no idea where even begin if it wasn't for Helena. And every time I say that, she's like, wait until you meet Marie. She's the one that invigorates us and keeps us going because you're gonna love her. And you never lie to me, Helena. Ever do you lie to me? Now, I have a slightly off topic question, but I have to. It sounds like you're from Kansas, Marie. Is that true?
Northeast of Kansas, very north, very east.
Clearly, you're anti-immigration.
I'm from France, the suburb of Paris. I came to the US 42 years ago, and for the life of me, I cannot get rid of this stupid accent.
Come on,
please don't get rid of the accent.
No, it's lovely.
Makes
I
you
love
so
it.
beautiful, amazing, and unique. We just love you.
So,
let me just touch upon something that is super important for your audience to understand. Like Daniel said just a few moments ago, we do have more people that are getting arrested every single day. And I go down to the vigil at Freedom Corner. And I heard Nicole tell me the other day that there has been, since January, 143 more people that have been arrested for Jan 6, and 43 just alone in the month of June. And then yesterday, I saw an article that the Gateway Pundit wrote about an elderly couple that just got arrested. So these...
Oh,
Helena, you muted yourself.
Unmute.
It's with the efforts of the amazing volunteer team that Marie has working with her hand in hand. These wonderful ladies who have truly stepped up, not only to inform, but keep up with all of these prisoners. They are getting transferred all over the place. They're given diesel therapy. They're moved from facility to facility so that they can't get comfortable anywhere. This is all part. This is part of the process of the persecution that they're all dealing with. But what is so amazing about Patriot Mail Project is when these guys and ladies, and there's lots of women that are locked up too, and a lot of people forget about that. They receive these letters. It's just a little hope every time they open up a letter that they get from a person outside that's sending them to, fly from flyover country or from, somewhere in the United States. And these people have built relationships with the people that participate in the letter writing campaign. And I always advocate for people to adopt a Jan 6er in your state if you're just getting started and you're just new to all of this. Get to know the Jan 6ers, develop a relationship with them, advocate for them, go into your communities. And like Marie said, anywhere you go, speak about them. Because what I think that we're lacking on so many levels is the advocacy and the spreading awareness of what happened January 6th. And this particular program that Marie has been a champion of. And let me tell you, I don't even say those words lightly, just a hero to so many, because she's brought so much love, comfort, help, support. And, through her efforts, through Patriot Mail Project, J6 Patriot News, all of the things that they have done. I mean, they provide the money from the American Gulag book, the sales, commissary, communications, and those are just so many things that we need to be able to provide help with this in this community. And Marie's really been here since the beginning. And without all of this, so many other things that we now have put in place would never have come to fruition. So that's one I did tell Sandra. I said she inspires me daily. I just absolutely adore you, Marie, everything that you have done for so many people. I mean, incredible, incredible. And I've even actually got to meet her in person and give her a hug. So then there's that.
Hey, yeah.
That's like superstar level there, Helena. I hope you framed it, and maybe she can
Yes,
autograph it
ma'am.
next time.
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am. I'm going to have to hop off here in just a few moments because I got to head up to the jail. I have a visitation today with Thomas Ballard and Mason Corson. And I'm super excited to meet Mason because I'm very good friends with his mother, Angie. And he got a notification that I'm coming to visit. And she called me this morning in tears. And she's like, please just give my son a big hug. Because, these families, it's so expensive for them to travel here to DC. And they've been financially decimated. Financially completely decimated. So I'm honored to be able to visit some of these Gen Sixers, and I have yet to be able to get to see my boys, the Proud Boys. They still won't give them visitation, and they've been hopping them from facility to facility. So we're praying next week that I'll be able to go see Joe and Enrique, and then I'll go see Dominic and Zach and Ethan. But anytime anybody just reaches out to me and wants me to do a visit, I am here in DC to help in any way that I can, participate in going to Freedom Corner. We started the National Yellow Ribbon Commissary fundraising campaign. I'm hoping to take some of this burden off of Patriot Mail Project so they can really focus on other needs in the community. And we're going to be fundraising nationally for that. I'm working with Suzanne Monk through Patriot Action Pack, and we're excited to bring this program on board. We've got so many people that are so they've really just gone above and beyond. They've stepped up in so many ways, and we're bringing new support on every single day. We have fantastic organizations that truly have laid the groundwork. Now that we have support put in place, is something that we absolutely did not have 2 years ago when all of these arrests first started happening. So, I'm with all of the bad that is happening, there's still so much good, so much love, so much support, so much hope that we are trying to help with and provide. And that is one big thing that Marie and Paula and Tim Rivers has done for the Gen Sixers and the Gen Six community.
There's also something I wanted to add. Ansley, she goes by Ansley. I don't know exactly what her real name is, but she has put together the survival kit for J6ers, and this is going to help people to because when you start being arrested and all that, there are a lot of things that you don't know about. So I'm very grateful for that too.
I just wanted to say I'm
She's
so proud of my
incredible.
mom for all the activism that she's been doing on all this on behalf of the Patriots. And I wanted to say thank you to Helena for showing up to my sentencing hearing, along with Ashley Babbitt's mother and Corinne. And who else was there? Was there anyone else there?
Nicole Reffitt.
Nicole Reffitt.
Nicole is there, yes.
She's the wife of a J6er. And, who else are the people who are the boots on the ground who do the vigil and stuff? I think we should mention some of their names if there's some others.
Absolutely. I am going to give Mama Mickey, Ashley Babbitt's mom, a big shout out, but also, of course, Nicole Reffitt, Guy Reffitt's wife. She has truly just been such a huge support system, especially for these families who are going through these trials and sentencing hearings. Nicole is up at the courthouse practically every single day, and I don't know how she does it, because it seriously just takes a toll on your heart, and it just
Oh,
chips
yes.
away at you. It's so heavy and so hard to do that, but she just does it every day to be there for the families. And of course, I have to give a big shout out to Tommy Tatum. He is there every single night to broadcast, all the live streamers that are out there. Gary McBride, who has gone, oh my gosh, above and beyond to try to reveal the truth about what has been going on. He is, I don't know anybody other than him, David Summerall, and perhaps Daniel, that has watched more Jan 6 footage to try to get the truth out to the public, because that's really all we've ever wanted from the beginning, since this nightmare started for so many patriots in this country, is for the truth to come out. And it's been suppressed, it's been, kept from the American people, and then they saw the same 5 clips because of the mainstream media for 2.5 years shoved down the throats. And it's really been up to us as a community to step up and get this evidence out into the public domain, even with all the censorship and everything that we have going on, the hurdles, the hoops of fire, the brick walls, the speed bumps. We persevere because we are determined. We are determined to do everything that we can to help these Jan 6ers and their families. And we can't stop the court process. We can just hope and pray that there's one case that's made it to the Supreme Court for this 1512 charge, and we're praying that they'll actually do the right thing, these judges, and reverse this charge, because that will take a lot of time away from some of the people that have already been sentenced, and they're serving very harsh sentences. I mean, poor Stuart Rhodes, he got 18 years. Kelly Meggs, I think 12.5. They're both oath keepers. Jessica Watkins, I think it was 8.2 years. I mean, it is just unbelievable the heavy hand that the government has come down in these really long, hefty sentences. I'm just praying that this 1512 charge gets dismissed, because the Proud Boys are looking at the same. They're going for sentencing August 30th, the 31st, and the 1st of September. So they have their sentencing coming up. And, they're trying to set a precedent. They're trying to use this against all of them. And, of course, it's all end game so that they can arrest Trump and, charge him with the same things. But we've got to continue our mission, and we've got to continue to spread the truth and awareness and do everything that we can in some small instances to do damage control, or at least bring some sort of comfort to these Gen 6ers and their families. So I'm proud to be a part of it.
No, absolutely. I mean, it truly, every week I'm more and more shocked and amazed at the different level of number one, commitment that the people that are supporting the J6ers have done to continue to support them. And it's almost like it's almost like a cult. Like, once you get in, you can't get out, because we have to, I can't imagine. I know how lonely it feels when you don't get that birthday card and you're not in jail. I can't imagine how much worse it is there. And so I really appreciate all of the extra details that y'all have gone to put into making sure that these people are not forgotten and fallen through a crack somewhere. One of the things
I have a little anecdote about the birthdays. So when I started asking people for their information, there was a place to put the birthdays, but lots of them didn't put them. So when we started to post about birthday, they came back to me and said, "Hey, you didn't put me on this month's birthday. How come?" Well, you didn't give me your birthday, So now I think they are more attentive to that.
It started a chain reaction.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I wanted to talk a little bit about the numbers. So there's been 1,000, but probably more. I don't know if either of you know more specifically how many have been arrested, and then how many people got that 1512 charge. Probably over 300. I don't know if either of y'all have a more specific number of that. And then the other numbers people want to know: how many people are in jail right now? How many of those are in the gulag? Usually I say, because the numbers change, I usually say around 100 are incarcerated, most of them pre-trial, and then around 50 maybe are at the gulag. Do you guys have better numbers, more recent?
Yeah, it's a little bit over 40 at the gulag. But yes, there are a lot of people that are serving sentences now. And
about how many have been sentenced?
Oh, I really am not sure about that number. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have,
I heard that there's 153 people as of right now locked up, and I could be wrong, but this is what I've been told. Please correct me if I am wrong. There's 153 people that are locked up pre-trial or serving their sentences at the moment. But with arrests happening just about every single day, those numbers change all the time. So that's why I say it's unbelievable how Marie and her team are able to keep up with all of this. It's incredible, honestly. I'm in constant awe. Like, they know when people are getting moved, and they get that information out into like Telegram and the public domain, so the families can get help and support and services. So I just want to tell you guys, I have to go.
Singles, they just know.
Yeah, I have to go because I've got to get to the jail because there's a certain time frame. But please, Daniel, I want you to talk about your gifts and go and how Sandra can help you raise money today, because the reason that I wanted you all to come on the show was for you to talk about the restitution of what you had to pay, so that we can help take some of this burden, this financial burden, off your family, because your family, Daniel, your mom and your family has done so much for this community. And I just wanted you guys to get some help, because I know you would never ask for it. I just know that you wouldn't. But I love you guys. Marie, we can talk offline. Thank you, Sandra, for having Marie and Daniel on today, and me as well. I appreciate you so much for giving us your Fridays. They're super important.
Always.
They've become really wonderful place for us to talk about these things that are happening to the Jan Sixers, what's going on in the community. And as always, I appreciate you and Walter so much for always having us on Fridays. Thank you, sweetheart. I love you.
We're honored. We are honored. Thank you so much. We'll see you next week, Miss Helena. If you guys don't mind, we do need to take a quick commercial break, so we're going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll be right back after just a few minutes. Okay? Thanks for sticking around, guys. We are back with a huge thank you to our amazing sponsors, the Montgomery County Tea Party. Don't forget the first and the third Monday, which is this one coming up, be at Citizens Grill in Conroe, Texas. Meeting starts at 6:30 sharp. So make sure that you're there so that you can hug some necks and learn something, maybe engage in something so that you can be educated, so you can go forth and educate those who do not know more, when have like actual, sound arguments with it, instead of just like, well, because I said so. We're not into that. So make sure you get there early so that you can get something yummy to eat also. And of course, the Vietnam Veterans of America, their service and sacrifice went far beyond a distant shore. They still continue to serve and sacrifice for their communities, their fellow veterans, both past and present, and their families, and make sure that resources are available to them that they may not have known about. So check them out. Of course, you can find their link on our Texas Fully Loaded page. That way you can find out where you can plug in. Maybe take them something yummy to eat for their next meeting, or maybe donate a case of waters or some sodas or bag of chips, something fun, right? Nobody likes to be in a boring meeting without anything to eat. No fun. And then if you're sick and tired of the big box shopping, even online, check out mammothnation.com/#WeThePeopleWork. You can actually find the American Gulag book on there as well, because they're patriots. They get it. They're sick and tired of being told no. They're also sick and tired of having to be dependent upon Chinese companies. So these are all veteran and American-owned businesses. You get exclusive discounts, and if you sign up on the #WeThePeopleWork link that is on our website or down here in the comment in the banner, you can also get a discount on signing up, and you support Texas Fully Loaded, and that's what makes the world go round, kiddies. Also, make sure that you are constantly checking out the Texas Fully Loaded website. We're going to be adding some more to it, guys. Just as an FYI, where's my page? I have my page right here somewhere. Hold on. Wait for it. There it is. Make sure you're checking out our website so that you always know the latest and greatest of what's going on. You can click on the shop link. You can click on sponsors and friends, and you can see what we've got going on. So make sure that you're a part of that, because you don't want to miss out. And don't forget, we've got awesome new shirts and coffee mugs and all sorts of stuff. Look at that. Dad, I'm serious. I want that color. Wasn't even lying. And you're supporting another Texas veteran-owned business by shopping there, because it's my dad's shop. He just opened it. So give him some love, okay? All right. All of that. We are coming back at you guys with Daniel and Marie. We've got a lot to still talk about, and we've only got about 20 minutes left to do it in. So no pressure. We've got this. Now, I want... Helena touched on about 5 million topics right before she ran away. So let's start at kind of, I want to get a little bit more of a timeline. So Daniel, you were at J6. We already established that. When were you arrested, and when did your trial happen and all of that stuff? Were you in like that first round of arrests, or were you not until later on?
Yeah, so I was actually arrested that month in January, and I saved the date on my phone calendar. So they put out the criminal complaint on the 15th. The FBI started tracking my phone on the 22nd. And then on the 29th, I was arrested here, right over there, at pre-dawn raid, Roger Stone style. They came with a counterterrorism task force led by the FBI, including the municipal police around here. I don't know who else was on that team, but they were pointing guns at us. Yeah, I don't know. We should really be saying the name of the FBI agent who was the leader in charge of it, or if that's public information or not. I've been meaning to ask my lawyer about that, but I guess now everyone knows since my mom said it. But anyways, I might even know what his Twitter is. But anyways, they came with like a medieval style battering ram. They were pointing guns at us. The sun wasn't even up. We were all asleep. They were banging on the door. They put us all in handcuffs except for my mom, because she was the last one to come out. And so even though none of them had anything to do with any of this. So it was really pretty ridiculous. And then they were, they didn't give us that arrest warrant till the end. Now, I didn't want to talk to them about anything. So I kept my mouth shut. The only thing I said was,
talk to my lawyer.
You can talk to my lawyer. Anytime they said something to me, they're trying to make me talk the whole time. And then they were trying to put these masks on me. And I am against wearing masks. I need to breathe. But I was handcuffed and I wasn't talking to them. So I had to use my jaw to kind of get them off. And then they wrote in their reports that I chewed off 5 masks, which that's a little bit of an exaggeration.
That's impressive. That's a little goat style even.
Yeah, we did good. So I didn't actually go to trial. They gave me 5 charges. One of them is that 1512 felony obstruction charge. They tried to get me to plead to that, and I told them no. Then they came back with an offer to plead to one of the misdemeanors. So when you do that, they give you a plea deal you have to sign. You have to agree to everything in it. And then they give you a statement of offense that they write, and you have to agree to and sign your name to that. Now, they gave me one that was full of lies. So I said, I'm not going to sign that unless you change this, 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 and this. So I was kind of gambling, because if they just didn't agree to that, then I was going to have to go to trial, going to have to face a biased DC jury. And so thankfully they were willing to change some of those things so that now my statement of offense didn't have any lies in it. So what that means is that I had to go to DC, and we had to get sentenced there. We had to drive there. Thankfully, the real J6 helped pay for some of our gas and stuff. And when we got there, and gas and hotel to be specific. And
May I ask what state you guys are in?
we're in Texas, yeah. Like
Okay, cool.
It took us 2 days. Fortunately, one of our sons lives in Nashville, Tennessee, so we stopped there.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
was
So
good.
so yeah, when I got what was the date of that? That was June. This June, 6th and 7th.
Yeah.
And so the first day, you know, the judge wasn't done. He wanted to think it over. So we came back for a second day. It's not very common that you actually have 2 days for a sentencing hearing. And the prosecution wanted, they didn't like the fact that I had raised money to pay for my legal fees. So my first lawyer was like $10,000, or was it $10,000 we paid? The second lawyer charged us $100,000. The third lawyer, which I currently have, is pro bono. So we're very appreciative of her to be doing that for us, but we had to pay back some of that money. So basically I paid as much as I could, and my parents paid the rest. So I've been paying them back ever since. I raised about a little over $25,000 from patriots around the country using my fundraiser that was set up by my boss, David. And the government copied and pasted the number I had raised on that fundraiser into the sentencing memo, asking the judge to fine me that exact amount of money. Now, the judge and the prosecution actually realized that I didn't have any money. So but he still wanted to do it. So the judge actually decided to fine me about 10% of that. So the actual breakdown it comes out to is the legal's about 100,000, a little over. The fine is 2,500, right? Or and then the restitution is 500, so that comes out to 300.
3,000.
3,000. 3,000 plus the 100,000 is 103,000. Then we have the assessment is $25. Then we have an appeal fee, which is $500. So that's all the costs that I have incurred because of January 6th. And everyone can go to my Give, Send, Go. I don't know if you've got the link for people to access that there, but another way to
put it in the comments, so it's in all of our feeds, and then it'll be able to be visible through here as well. So,
and regardless if you can donate, it would really mean a lot to me if you would just share it. You know, if you're on social media, share it, and if you're not on social media, you can still text it and email it to people. Of course, patriots who would be supportive of the cause. But I tell people, you know, it's not just me, and that's not the only way to help is money. So I tell people to go to stophate.com/J6, and that's where we have the calls to action. So that page has the links to the fundraisers, including mine, and it has the links to where you can join the prayer group, or where you can find my mom's website that has all of the ways to send letters. It also has the place to buy that book, The American Gulag Chronicles. And it also has the documentaries that me and David, my boss, put out. Bloody Hill and Writing History. Those are the most important documentaries about January 6th. But then we also listed more documentaries, mostly by other patriots, but then a few even by the left-wing mainstream media. So you can see all of those linked there when you go to.
So I just caught on. You mentioned your boss David a couple of times, and then you just said it completely this time. So I didn't realize you actually work for David. We've had David on our show a couple of times. In fact, he and Trinus actually kind of helped put us in touch with a lot of people to help kind of further what you guys are doing. David came to Montgomery County in January, and Trinus both, but they came for a J6 prayer rally. Several of our friends from Montgomery County were there.
David is always on the road.
Yeah.
He is always in his truck going somewhere.
I think
to
he
some
is
event.
right now as we speak. Yeah, he goes to DC, to do the hearings and testify. He goes to these J6 events, a lot of these things. So, yeah, all these links here. Like there it says send mail. You click on that, that's a link. Order the American Gulag Chronicles, that's a link. J6 documentaries, that's a link. So if you keep going, you've got all these things on that page. And if you go even down to the bottom, we have links to the other J6 organizations like J6 Patriot News, the Mail Project, the Real J6. Oh yeah, that's when we were on Tucker, 2 different episodes there. Yeah, who else we got? For Ashley, American Patriot Relief, Condemned USA, that's Trennis. J6 Truth, that's another one that did amazing documentaries. M5 News is Gary McBride. So yeah, everybody, this really is a hub and a one-stop shop for how to support J6ers. Is stophate.com/J6. So anyone who wants to be a part of the J6 community needs to go to that page, familiarize themselves with the truth about January 6th, share the information with other patriots. And there's a lot of censorship we've been facing. I got banned immediately after January 6th from Facebook and Instagram, no reason given. I got banned from Lyft. I got banned from Airbnb. I lost the place I was renting in San Francisco, which I'm under house arrest here with my parents anyways. I was under house arrest for a year. Now I'm able to leave, but I can't go beyond the northern and eastern district of Texas. Mm-hmm. So
now he's going to be in a nice hotel in next to Austin. It's called Federal Correctional Institution, Bastrop.
Yeah.
So that's in close to Austin.
So I did 21 days on the front end, and now since it's a 60-day sentence, I've got 39 more days in prison coming up next week, Thursday.
Wonderful. Well, I'll get with you guys afterwards because Bastrop is it's only 3 hours or so from here. So I would be honored to be able to say that I've gotten to visit you while you were there, truly fighting the good fight and unjustly being incarcerated. I think that this is something that so many people I think a lot of people kind of feel helpless. Like they're like, well, I mean, if the federal government is doing this, like, who are we supposed to turn to? Who are we supposed to be able to trust? And it's a scary feeling and thought, realizing that your own government is turning on you. And I've heard so many different stories from the J6ers that we've had on here where, many of them, like the agents that were involved, were going, this is wrong. This is wrong. And they were making sure that even though they had to cuff them and whatever, because they were following the orders, they were still being treated humanely, the J6ers were still treated humanely by the average agent that was there, not necessarily the lead one that was there. And many of them, were even like, I can't understand why this is happening to y'all. And on the federal government side, we look at this stuff and my kid's dad is a federal agent, and one day when we were talking about different things, I said, it's a scary moment to realize that one day they might use you to turn on me.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to be silent about this. And he just stared at me, and I said, they are going to make sure that they can put you in that kind of position one day. Yeah, and I said, so what do I do? Stay silent about the truth, or I said, because I'm not going to back down from this fight, because this is what they are leading us to.
Yeah, and I don't think there's very many patriots left in any of these agencies. Like most of the FBI agents who have become whistleblowers, and then they gotten fired. And a lot of people, they wouldn't get the vaccine. There's a lot of people who have just been kind of edged out of the system. So
well, and I tell everybody all the time, we've been a part of the federal government family, aside from military time, for almost 15 years now. And when you have, I know many federal agents from many different departments, and when every single one of them goes, oh yeah, anybody but the FBI. Like at this point, we trust people in the CIA more than we trust people in the FBI. And I'm sitting here going, this is telling. Like, this is telling when every other agency is going, not the FBI.
Yeah, that's pretty terrifying if they're saying that.
The problem also is the Republicans. So what have they done besides political theater? Because that's what they do. I mean, all those hearings that you see on C-SPAN, this is political theater because they don't do anything per se.
Kevin McCarthy promised if he was the speaker, he would release all the J6 footage, and he hasn't done it. Not only that, Marjorie Taylor Greene supported him on that basis, and now she's the one out here telling people that they shouldn't release the footage because she says, oh no, then these Twitter left-wing sleuths are going to find all the faces and tell the FBI to arrest people. Well, guess what? The FBI's already used facial recognition. They've already tracked the GPS on all of our phones. There is no person who was there on January 6th that the FBI doesn't already plan to arrest. So the only thing that hiding that footage does is hides the exculpatory evidence for all the J6ers. I was fortunate that Tucker Carlson showed what I did on his show because that makes that footage public. But there's, like I said, 1,000. They're going to be 3,000. And if Tucker did a show every day, he wouldn't be able to show all the people. So we can't just rely on the gatekeepers. We need the public to have that information so they can find the right-wing internet sleuths can find the exculpatory evidence for all the J6ers because it was definitely a setup, and very few, if any, are actually guilty of the crimes that they're accused of for the most part. You know, and if you say it's trespassing, okay, fine, maybe 1,000 people are guilty of trespassing, but not 3,000, and they shouldn't be getting more than a year for anything they've done. A lot of these people, like I said, faced with 20 years because they got this bogus obstruction charge. So it's really ridiculous. And frankly, if we're giving 100 or 1,000 people a trespassing charge and conviction, then we need to be giving thousands of charges to the BLM and Antifa, and that simply hasn't happened. So really, we need to just let all the J6ers free. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, by the way, you know, when the leftists run into the Supreme Court, when not the Supreme Court, the Capitol, when there were the Kavanaugh hearing, some of them got arrested. Their fine was $50, and that's it.
Well, there was Antifa rioting against the actual inauguration of Donald Trump. And those people, not only did they get their charges dropped, they actually got money given to them by DC, the city, by the government for what, like being traumatized or something ridiculous.
Was it 3.8 million or something like
that? They got
a
lot of money. So these people are essentially getting paid to be rioting. Us, they call it a riot. Maybe 100 or 1,000 people are actually involved in what might be called a riot. Not me. I was in an area that was completely peaceful. And yet I'm paying for the government to prosecute me. And then I'm paying a fine and restitution, even though I didn't break anything or hit anyone. And I'm also paying for the assessment. And there's all these. And plus so I'm paying for my defense and my prosecution.
Yeah.
And basically I'm paying for those Antifa rioters to riot because that money is coming out of DC.
Daniel, it's their right. What's wrong with you?
The First Amendment,
this
peaceful,
is exactly
peaceful.
That's right. They're very peaceful. They're very just humble, quiet souls. They are. Yeah. You know, but this is some of the stuff that we keep. You know, this not to take the focus off of this topic by any stretch of the imagination, but if we actually, as a people at large, got serious about this offense mentality and attitude, and we sit here and scoff and, you know, say things like, you know, oh, well, you know, they were being peaceful, so they deserved it, you know, just kind of being funny. But in the same breath, they come after us because we've offended them and we've hurt their feelings. Well, you know what? They're hurting our freaking feelings too. You know what I mean? So if that's the only charge I can get somebody on is hurting their feelings, even though they're literally burning down our country, you know what? My feelings are hurt. Let's sue them.
Yeah, and I think the right wing needs to grow a backbone, but not the right wing politicians, because they actually do have a backbone.
No, they're all frauds.
The issue is that they're not actually believing what they say they're believing. So they are standing up for their beliefs, but they're actually the leftists. So
we tease here, we're out of time, but we tease that I have the jellyfish of fortune because I've been saying since Marjorie Taylor Greene got into office the first time that I didn't trust her. I just did not like her. The second she sold out to Kevin McCarthy, every single person I knew involved with J6, I said, do not trust her. Do not speak to her. She is going to stab you in the back. And that's exactly what she's proven time and time again. So I'm with you guys 110%. If there's anything that I can do, please let me know. I'll contact you a little bit more with my personal contact information. But your links are going to be up on our website. I'll probably just use that one from David Summerall's page since it's got everybody on there. That's probably more concise. Daniel, we will be praying for you and your amazing family for standing behind you and fighting this fight with you. You've got one more week of freedom-ish. and then a month and some change of crapness. But we will be praying for you and stand by you during that time. And
in terms of visitation, I haven't read all the rules, but one thing I read was that you have to know me in advance. So if anyone wants to visit me, contact me before I go in, and I think I can send you a form you have to fill out or something like that. I have to look.
well, we're super best friends. America's just watched it for the last hour, so absolutely. We do really appreciate you and your family. You're seriously in our prayers, and thank you so much for allowing us to share you in your story and what all you guys have been doing to support our J6ers. Our TFL family truly appreciates it, and so does America. We will see you guys again soon. And to the rest of you guys, thank you so much. I hope that you have a fantastic weekend. Don't forget to look up, ask questions, and don't take no for an answer. We're going to continue the fight, and I'll see you guys on Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Bye, y'all.